In today's video, we are going to go through everything. We've got the Kingdom to ourselves on a rare quiet day. Irons, woods, wedges, putters, and when you should change equipment or look to get some new product in your life. This is a cracking video. We're going to take you around different parts of the Kingdom to bring you each section. I got everything right here, but let's take you on a bit of a mini tour and go through each section to see how it can help your game. Do you need to get a fresh set of clubs? What happens if your game is trending in a great place? Do you get new golf clubs? What happens if you're about to start a series of lessons? Do you start with new golf clubs? What happens if you're a beginner? What happens if you've been playing for years and those irons that you loved when you were a kid, those tiny little Mizuno blades or whatever it was that you used to own, now you're getting a bit more time, you're coming back to that game that you used to hit those things so pure and you can't hit a donkey's ass with a banjo. Do you need to get a fresh set of clubs because they're not going to work for you? And where do you start? This video's got it all. Let's start with the irons and when we should look at some freshies. When should we change? So in terms of the actual clubs, of course, if the grooves are worn and you've got those little dot wear marks coming in forged irons, it's probably worth you getting a new set because they will be hindering your performance. I've been out on the tour with Justin Rose and the chrome has been peeling off the irons, but he still hasn't changed them because he knows that his launch monitor numbers, because at that level he knows exactly what he needs to do, are good. So he doesn't want to come out of them. But there does come a point when the chrome starts peeling, you got to be making the change. So if the general iron is worn and it's battered and it's not looking good, you need to make that change. If you've gone in with technology that suited you when you were a nipper and you were able to play great golf with that, and now there's some tech out there in a P790 or a P770 or an equivalent, a big fat cavity back, and you want that just to make your life easier, well, guess what? Make a change because it's going to help you. One of the areas that has really caught my eye, that is something that's come to light as I've been working a lot with KBS, and it first came into my mind with Colin Morikawa, was a mid-launch iron shaft was coming out, and he put it in his long irons. Tiger Woods put it in his long iron. KBS have got a ton of players on the LPGA that are putting lighter weight shafts in their 4, 5, 6 iron and then heavier in their short irons. These conversations are sparking me to think about changing from my Tour V110s, which are lightweight, because as time has gone on, I've lost speed. So now I've gone into a lighter weight iron shaft than what I played before. But now I'm thinking, because technology's changed, my knowledge of equipment is changing, what the best in the world are doing is inspiring me to put in more of a higher launch long iron shaft-wise, and then a heavier lower launch, like I've got 120s in my lob wedge and my 56. So maybe it's a change in the tech, maybe it's a change in the direction where things are going that will inspire that iron change. Maybe you want a combo set. Again, very popular on the tour with different players. Maybe that combo set will help you with the launch and help you with the control. Something you've got to consider if you're looking to improve. One area that I'm going to speak of throughout each category that's going to be the common denominator is data, especially when it comes to putting. Putting for me, data shows all the time through my Clipped app as to what I should be doing and why I should be doing it. But there are also some checkpoints with the putter that I'm going to bring you to that we can use to check we're in the right club. But sticking on irons, I think if there's a technology change, if there's a mobility change in your body, if your coach is seeing things, if of course you want new tech, at the end of the day, this is a pastime for a lot of us. It's a fun activity that we do. If something out there sparks your eye, go for it. If you see a trend that might be mid-launch iron shafts, which is what I'm seeing, that's another area that could spark you to buy some new irons. Or if you've watched the What's in the Bag videos I've done and a wedge setup is maybe catching your eye because Tiger uses certain wedges or certain bounce, you like the thought of that technology, you like the raw finish, you like that D8 swing weight that he talked about, the balance point, the heavier head weight, that got your mind, then look, it's time for fresh. Wedges, if you can't launch them in your window, if they're not checking up when you're hitting the little spinny ones, or you're seeing something funky on your launch monitor, you're going to have to get into fresh wedges. They're going to need to be changed, depending on how much golf you play, more than the irons. But the final piece when it comes to a really important part of your game in the irons, the golf ball that you play will give you an optimum launch window. If it doesn't marry up for those irons, you're either going to have to change the ball model or consider what you're doing with your irons. The next piece is, where do you play? If you happen to play on links turf, then you're going to want a narrower sole that can cut through that grass and get into the tight fairways. And of course, if you play on a lush golf course, more inland, then maybe you need to look at a different sole design. You may have moved location, which could cause you to travel with irons. You're playing a bit more, you're more serious, and they just don't work for the golf course you're at. So there's a lot of options there with the iron that you should look at. If your game is developing, of course, and you're teetering on becoming a shot maker rather than someone who just wants to hit the center of the blade, now you're getting some consistency. You want to shape your golf shots, maybe swerve on past our little coyote friend that's out there, then you know what? You're going to need to get accurate with that, because he's nimble on his feet and you're going to struggle to hit the quadrant of the green that he might be in to scare him off. You are looking at someone who's just made a putter change. Honestly, I love putters, all different shapes, all different sizes, all different methods, but there is some thought behind how I change. Now, the first thing, if you see some tech, if there's something that you like in a putter that's out there, this new product from TaylorMade with the Zero Torque, I've been a big fan of lie angle balanced putters for a long, long time. This absolutely was something I was itching to get my hands on. Just ask the boys here how much I was after one of these. So that inspired me. Now, I've seen people with injuries go for longer, more mid-length putters because they can't bend over a little bit more. Q behind the camera for sure was intrigued by the heavier putter grip up here used by Ricky Fowler, Wyndham Clark, those types of players. That caught his eye. If you're changing the grip method you use and you're going for claw or you're going for left below right, that might inspire you. Of course, if you go through the TaylorMade putting lab or you realize you have a tendency to miss on one side or the other, which is why the clip data is key, then this could be something that you need to consider a new putter. So a good question that's come here from behind the camera is, should people own more than one putter? I think if you have a putter that you love, then it's safe to say that you can stick on that. But to answer the question directly, I always think putting is a journey, and I think it's very good to have something that can spice it up and change the situation. Putting can get stale, it can be fickle. The test is, are you hitting your start lines? The test is, are you hitting your pace? That's the test. But obviously the acid outcome that you need is the ball going in the hole. And sometimes if that doesn't work out for you, a little bit of the threat of switching putters can really trigger that one that you love to get into gear and start making a few more. So look, patience with it, only change on the data, but I don't think it hurts to have something that is freakishly different to what you use. If you like a standard length and then you have a heavier one, or, and this is absolutely where I see it a lot on tour, you can have the same model, different head weights, or slightly different lofts. I love that play. There are certainly players I've worked with over the generations, Jamie Donaldson on the European Tour, then Jason Day would change loft all the time based on the coast, John Rahm would change loft all the time, but if you didn't have that luxury because you were playing somewhere remote, the same model putter, but with slightly different loft to give you that better roll out on each surface. So think about it, how are you gonna get this right? We're in the putter lab inside the Kingdom, and around me, even without opening these other two cupboards, we've probably got about 50 different putters, all with different grips, different lengths, different swing weights, different hosel types. You name it, this place has got it. How are you going to get this right if you don't get fit for the club that you need? How are you going to know that you even need to change if you haven't researched some of the stuff that's out there? If you're not capturing the knowledge that you have. We use this exact room to look at your ball launch data when it comes to putting. You might be sitting in a position where you've got a place where you play golf out in the desert, and then you've got a place somewhere else where you play golf. You need two putters. Well, if they're at different climates, you're going to need different lofts on those or different types. This room has everything. The fitting process throughout golf clubs can really get you set up and in a great place. As I've said, all you have to then do is keep an eye on the tech, and if something captures your eye, putters is a hard thing not to think that we can improve and we can change. It's low-lying fruit. All of us can stand there, let our body hang and rock and send that ball off on the start line. They're the keys to good putting, but use something like this to your advantage, do your research, and get the right putter for your game. With so many options, this is a big area that you can slip up, and of course, if you get it right though, it's a big area that you can improve. Okay, so woods. This is a good one because it's a very exciting one. Technology moves quick. Trust me, I've been here 20 years. I know how quickly it moves. But first off, look at the options. Look at how many shafts there are. Look at how many heads there are. And this thing sweeps all the way behind you guys and across that wall and across there and down the side. There's tons. So I get it. This is something you've got to get your mind into gear. Do I change a lot? Do I change often? Do I need to get a new one every single season? What happens if I'm driving it great? Well, guess what? I'm going to harp on about the same thing. Data. Does your data work? Second thing, did you get fit for that club that you have? Because sometimes you can find a gem and then you might not want to change for 3 or 4 seasons. But if you do sit on it for 3 or 4 seasons, the tech moves and evolves. If you're not losing numbers, if you're not losing speed, if there's not some revolutionary new tech out there or a new shaft out there, then stick with it. But if you want to see movement and improvement and the golf ball is right, you want to keep on top of this area. One of the things you absolutely need to understand though is how the tech in the club that you are using works. So this LS has weights at the front, weight at the back, 3 weights you can move. If I move the one from the back forward, the MOI, the moment of inertia, how much this thing twists if you don't hit the center, increases. So therefore, the loft is important because if I've got the loft set to where the weight is, that's going to give me perfect numbers. My swing could change because my body's slowing down, I'm working with a coach, I'm doing some stuff in the gym, I may have changed my diet, therefore I'm going to need different loft. Or even if I change the weights, I'm going to need different loft. Now you can adjust it with the loft sleeve, but you can also adjust it by getting a different head that will give you different launch conditions. So it's something that you have to consider when it comes to, is my driver dialed? Is it dialed for me today versus is it dialed for where I'm at in 6 months? Is my driver allowing me to hit fairways? Can I hit a certain shot shape with it? Do I need a driver that maybe does a little something different for this golf course versus that golf course? You're getting extremely specialized at that point, but it's an option. Then you've got to look at, and we'll cruise down here, the mini driver that sits on the end. Do I want to put in a mini driver for my game? Now we've got rescue clubs. Do I need that for club makeup? Then you move into the fairway woods. I took on this fairway wood not thinking it would stay in the bag as long as it has, but the data shows it's been a great golf club for me. I'm not going to change it. I haven't tried any other fairway woods in this whole room or on the tour truck for the simple reason that this one is doing what the data says. So avoid the change. And then even with me, I've got one of them in here and I've got the QI35, but this 7 wood, which is last year's model, is doing really good. It's bent to a lie angle that I like. So even for me, I have the other one. I haven't gone out and tested it yet because I simply haven't had time. But it's also a case of you've got to play the clubs that are working for you at that time. Yes, the new models help, but when you test them, go through what you're looking for as a player. If your coach is telling you one thing or your course requirement on the 7 wood needs something versus the 3 iron that I loved, well, guess what? The 7 wood's gone in because data says it's a better product for me. I think the key throughout all this is data can run what you do. That's what the best players in the world are doing. There are so many great golf clubs. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to have them all and to change them all, but sometimes you might not be required to. A change in location, a change in health, an interest, or a new product that comes to the market are all key areas to look at, but data wins out as a whole. I hope you enjoyed this video. Get down below with any comments or questions that you might have about your equipment, and I'll give you a hand to better help you on this path and journey to have the best squad of golf clubs for your game. If you like what you see, and as always, bang subscribe, otherwise we're toast and we're not bringing you any more killer videos.